Hello and welcome to Q&A Friday. My name's Jason Newland. My website, my glorious, groovy website, is jasonnewland.com. Please visit, please. I also have a Facebook group called Jason Newland's Boring Group. What else? I don't know. What else is there? Oh, a YouTube channel as well. At Jason Newland. So the time is 8:15 p.m. on Friday the 13th of June. Hope you're well. I got a few messages I'm going to read out before I continue. The first message is from Ruth. Hi Jason, this was sent about an hour ago. An hour and 20 minutes ago. Hi Jason, I've had sciatica. You let me boil your pain away recordings have been a great help. Thank you Jason, you're very much appreciated. So thank you, Ruth, for your kind words. Right, just reply to that message. What else? Oh yes, so I'm going to go to my Facebook group. Wait a minute. What is this? Comments. 3 new comments on your latest picture. So, babbling on. I did a Let Me Bore Your Pain Away, number 38 today, called Babbling On. And I made a picture which it took me a while to put together. I mean, I used AI to do it, but it took a while because I had to keep making changes to make it how I wanted it to be. And it's a picture of someone with really big teeth. It's a picture of me, but with really big teeth, babbling on tattooed on my forehead. Let me bore your pain away, number 38 tattooed on my neck. A white string vest and massive ears with a big mouth on the earlobes, on each earlobe. Basically, what it's supposed to represent is me talking non-stop, you know, and with the ears, instead of listening, they're talking. See? Sebastian has replied. He's got an image of me and him mixed together, which concerns me in ways that I cannot express. Really concerns me. So cool. So I'm going to go back to, let me go Jason's Newland's Boring Group. There is a link on my website which will take you directly to Jason Newland's Boring Group, and there's a little banner at the top of the page. So I had a couple of comments on the image as well. Hope put, that's very disconcerting, and Mike wrote, disturbing is the word that came to mind to me. So yes, that's good. I'm glad you all enjoy my image. It's is just an image. It's also just going to focus on yesterday's Let Me Bore You to Sleep, 12th of June 2025, iPad error, it was called. And there's a picture of iPad not working on the image. So I had a couple of people ask me, Tammy, fell asleep deeply to this one last night. Thank you very much. Cool, thank you, Tammy. That's groovy. And Hope said, I hope it's not your iPad that's not working. It's not. Thanks, Hope. It was my iPad, but it's fixed now. So that's all sorted. It took me hours and hours to fix it, but got it done eventually, thankfully. It was a very, very time-consuming little adventure. So before I do the questions, I've only got 4 questions, or 3 plus like an added on one to one of them. I left it quite late before I posted the any questions for tomorrow's Q&A Friday. I normally post a request for questions on a Wednesday, and I think I posted this on a Thursday, well, yesterday, but it wasn't even, it wasn't like early in the day either, probably at night, 23 hours ago. So I posted it like, I don't know, nearly 9:30 yesterday evening. It's been very, very warm today. And it's warm now. Now, it's rarely, very rare is it warm inside my flat in the summer. It gets warm in the winter with the heating on. In the summer, doesn't normally get particularly warm. If anything, it's warmer outside than inside. I don't know, it's a bit sheltered because a big tree that's blocking the sun and stuff. Not blocking the sun for the whole world, but just this window. And can you hear Vinny? He's chomping away at some bony thing. I think he is. Yeah, he is. But tonight, it's cooling down now. But an hour ago, or half an hour ago, it was like, oh, I was sweating a little bit. What have I done today? I haven't really done a lot. I made the recording earlier, did all the editing and all that stuff, and uploaded that, made an image. That took ages to do the image, because what I really wanted, which probably would have been a worse image, is just like a stop frame. Is it called stop frame image of me just talking non-stop? But I might have ended up looking like the alien monster, so perhaps that wouldn't have been good. Or an extra mouth again, like the alien. So yeah, I mean, the initial image I had mouths for the eyes were also mouths. But my neighbour popped in and saw them and he said, no, you should change that. That looks a little bit crude, a little bit. Ugh. I mean, admittedly, maybe the one I did. It's I don't make images to distress people. So if anyone who's truly distressed, then don't look at it. I guess I did it more. I thought it'd be quite funny. Representing someone that doesn't listen, but just keeps talking. So that was the representation. And also with the tattoos, I'm trying to find a way to put text into the image, but the whole image was the face, so there was no room to add the title of the recording. So I thought the only space I had was really the forehead to start with, so I so I put a tattoo of the title of the recording. I don't know what Vinny's trying to do. What are you trying to do, Vinny? He's hunting, trying to find something. He's found something to eat off the settee. I don't know what it was. Probably a bit of a biscuit or something. And I've got no idea what it is. He's always up to something. Yeah, and then to put the Let Me Boil Your Pain Away, I wanted to have it on the t-shirt, but there was no room because the whole picture was kind of the face, so I had it on the neck. So that was kind of how that came about. But truly, I hope it didn't upset anyone really. So I have questions from Hope, Michelle and Ken. So I'm going to start with Hope because Hope was first. Yep, Hope was first, then Michelle, then Ken. So Hope asks me, if you could live in any other country in the world, where would you like to live? So as I was talking to you there, Vinny was on the settee and he turned the television on by treading onto the remote control. And now he's just plonked himself down and he's just he's all chilled out now, cuddling up to me. What is going on with you today? Hey, what is going on? I took him out this morning and then I took him out this afternoon. I took him in the garden this afternoon, then I took him out about 7 o'clock for a walk because it was a little bit too hot during the day for him to go out in it, but it was okay in the garden and that. It was a little bit too hot for me really. I needed to have a shower before I went out, and then I needed one when I got back as well. Yes I did. And I'm talking to Vinny there, by the way, in case you think I'm talking to you like a pet. You talk to us like we're animals. No, I don't. No. You're good boys and girls. Yes, you are. You're so good, so well behaved. Yeah. So I took him out this evening and he was just plodding along. We were out for probably about an hour. Maybe not an hour, maybe 30, 40 minutes. But he was just walking around the park, sniffing. That was it. He had no interest in really doing anything else. He was just happy sniffing around. And I just followed him. And he took me around and around and around, didn't you? Eh? Yes, you did. He's making some weird noises tonight. Right. If I could live in any other country in the world, where would I like to live? Oh, my neighbour downstairs sent me a text message at 11 o'clock last night. Now, I was in bed at 9. Getting text messages doesn't affect me because I have my phone on mute when I'm in bed. Plus, I don't have, I don't know what you call it, an alert or an alarm when there's a text message. I don't even have my phone on vibrate anymore like I used to when I was younger. And I can't have my phone on. Like, I know that my neighbour wouldn't phone me at 11 o'clock, but other people do. Usually people wanting to borrow money and stuff like that. So I can't have my phone on ring, which is a little bit annoying because, you know, there might be an emergency. I kind of like to have my phone on for an emergency. It is on, but for ring. But what it does do, if I'm awake, so if I'm listening to the radio, or I'm listening to an audio book, or I'm listening to some music, like usually classical music, if the phone rings, it cuts out the music. It doesn't ring, but it just goes quiet. So I notice that if I'm awake still. So if I'm just chilling, lying down, listening to the radio or listening to whatever, an audio book. But once I'm asleep, I don't notice it. So I had a text message. I got up to do a wee-wee at, I don't know, it's probably 11:30. No, it's 12 o'clock, midnight. Went up to do a wee-wee, and because I saw that or did she phone? Maybe she did phone at 11. No, she asked me, she asked something about, no, are you awake? I think that's what it was. Text me, am I awake? So what I did is I texted her back, so I thought, well, she might be in bed now. Texted her back, said, are you okay? And she said, yeah, I'm just looking to put some stuff in your freezer because she got some stuff and there was not enough room, so she needed to just borrow my freezer space. That's all it was. So I phoned her up and I said, we do it now if you want, but I was half asleep. I don't think I made much sense. And so I said, well, we can do it tomorrow if you're not bothered about doing it today. She said, all right, I'll do it tomorrow. And then I phoned her up probably about 1 o'clock, and she was asleep. Well, she was half asleep. But eventually she came up and we put the stuff in the freezer. So it was like pastries and things like that. And she gave me some pastries, some cinnamon sticks. Yum, 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 yum. I'm going to be eating them. I mean, that's kind of what you do with them, isn't it? But yeah. So, I mean, the reason, if someone sends me a text asking me if I'm awake, then I assume that, especially if it's late at night, I assume that it's important, so, you know, I will respond to that. It wasn't important, but still, I think she knows to call me. I mean, she has in the past. There's been a couple of incidences where she's had to phone me, which is fine in an emergency. I'll try and help anyone out in an emergency. That's just the neighbourly thing to do, isn't it, really? It's not even... It doesn't necessarily make me a hero. It does a bit, though, doesn't it? No, I'm not going to sing, don't worry. So, Hope asked me, oh, brilliant, a motorbike. I hope it doesn't park in the garden and start revving his engine in the garden. Please don't do that in the garden. Especially not at this time of night. Who would have thought that I'd think of 9 o'clock being late? I mean, literally, the latest I go to bed on a Friday and a Saturday night, well, Friday anyway, is 10 o'clock. So I like to watch or listen to the radio, a certain radio show. Nick Abbott radio show at 10 o'clock, 10 till 1. Saturday, I like to listen to the same show as well, but if boxing's on, I might not get to bed till 11 or half 11. If the boxing's on in the UK. Depends how tired I am, because I get up so early in the morning. So I went to bed at 9 yesterday, and I woke up at 5. So I'd be full 8 hours. Which reminds me, I had a message from Ben. Ben, sorry Ben, I remember seeing this and thinking I need to reply. So I'm going to reply to Ben's message. This is 12 hours ago. Jason went to bed at 7 to listen. This is to the Whisper Wednesday. I laughed at the hello Ben, and well, don't even think I made it to 10 past 7, and woke up this morning at 7. So 12 hours of calm sleep. Whisper Wednesday is definitely my favourite works every time. It's my favourite. It works every time. Cool. Thanks, Ben. I really appreciate your words. And it's just good to get feedback. So I'm going to put thank you. But I'm also saying it to you on this. So whether or not you hear it, I don't know. But thank you very much. I will try and do another Whisper Wednesday next week. The problem I've got with next week, there's always an excuse, isn't there, is one of my neighbours is having a new bathroom, and it starts on Monday or Tuesday next week. It's now Friday. I don't know quite how much noise it's going to make, because it's not underneath me like before. The flat underneath me had the new bathroom before, and that was, it shook the whole building. So I'm guessing this will as well, especially the digging up the bath and all that stuff. There's a lot of work put into it. It took a while. If that's the case, then I'm going to be kind of limited to what I can do. I'd have to either make the recordings at night or early in the morning. But I'll try and adapt around it. It's only for a couple of weeks. Most of it's done pretty much after 2 weeks. A few little bits, but yeah, it's pretty much finished. It's just that first bit of work which take about 2 or 3 days or 4 days of solid like noise, and then maybe a week of solid noise, and then it, but I don't know how much I'm going to hear it, because I'm guessing that downstairs is going to be noisier. Hearing the bathroom being fitted downstairs is going to be noisier than being across the hallway from me, because the other flat is not connected to my flat. It's connected as in it's in the building, but it's not directly. I've got no walls connected to it. Does that make sense? Vinny, you're so cute. I love stroking you. Here's a weird thing. I'm beginning to think that there's something healing about having a little doggy, because having him, sleeping with him and having him near me, and like as such, just stroking him or petting him or whatever the word is, I think he's a bit hot. Are you a bit hot, Vinny? And I don't know, I feel almost like maybe there's some kind of healing comes from being with him, from having him in my life. Even when he does do weird farts like that, I heard it. I didn't smell it, but I heard it. He does these little like farts, really, just a little bit of energy, a little bit of air, just like that. Very kind of quiet. So back to the questions. So I think I've covered any things. Did I reply to I did. Good. Right. So back to the questions. That is a weird picture that I did. I'll see if I can do That is among my weirdest ones I've done so far. I'd say one of the things is they had a picture of me. I put it into ChatGPT and asked it to do a picture of me, you know, talking too much. And the image it came out, it had me with my mouth wide open. But my teeth, I had like, the teeth weren't my teeth. I know it's never going to be my teeth. And the image doesn't really show my teeth anyway. So it has these images, and it had my teeth. It just looked weird because it wasn't. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I mean, my teeth are nothing like the ones in the image now, because everything in the image is exaggerated, except the ears. The ears are about normal. Yeah. Oh, I like that image. It makes me laugh. Have you ever thought about what? Questions for tomorrow. Okay. Let's go to the first question. So, if you could live in any other country in the world, where would you like to live? It's very difficult. I think I'm at a point in my life where I'd like to travel, but not necessarily live in one place. Maybe have a base, you know, have a base to live in, and this is as good as any in a way. But travel, preferably train or boat, ship. I'd quite like to maybe travel through Europe, go on some cruises. That appeals to me. I think maybe that's just my age. It's not really. I've always liked the idea of going on cruises. I just could never afford it. I like ships. I like the idea of like you got everything in one place. It's like a holiday camp, a hotel, a leisure centre, everything just all in one place on one big massive floating thing. So I quite like that. Vinny's really, really hunting through my bits and bobs on the settee, looking for stuff to... I don't know what he's finding. I've lived in Ireland, I've lived in England. I've never lived in any other countries other than them two countries. I think if I went somewhere and I fell in love with a place, like really fell in love, you know, just like wow, I never want to leave this place, then yeah, that would be a place to live. That would make sense. I've never been to a place that I felt that way before. But then I'm not really well travelled. I've been on a few holidays over my lifetime, a few places, but I'm not like a regular holiday person. I mean, before, I haven't been away very often. I mean, I think it was nearly a 20-year gap, 15-year gap between going aboard one time and then going aboard the next time. So I'm not well travelled, but I've been to a few different places over the years. It's just I've been alive a long time. Perhaps I should have joined the army. I nearly did. And that would have given me the opportunity to travel, wouldn't it? I mean, the Navy possibly is a better job, a better one for travelling, because literally that's part of the job, isn't it, travelling? But I never fancied the Navy because I was in the Sea Cadets, and I just didn't, after being in the Sea Cadets for a couple of years, I didn't want anything to do with the Sea Cadets. It just didn't appeal to me, because I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the Sea Cadets. So, but the Army, that seemed more up my street, and I did apply to join. I nearly joined in 1980. 1987. I went through the tests and the medicals and the basic fitness, and then I was going to go. All I had to do was go to the training weekend, and then that was it. If I passed that, then I was accepted into the Army and go to, you know, however many, 12 weeks training or whatever it is. And I kind of wanted to, but at the same time, I think I was just scared. I was scared. It wasn't so much, I wasn't scared of being in the Army. So much as far as like, I don't think I was scared of some of the things that some people would be scared of. For me, it was more being around people, sleeping in a room full of other kids or other people. That just never really enjoyed that. I didn't want to do that, and the discipline, being told what to do, that I didn't know if I'd really. Well, I knew I wouldn't enjoy that. The physical side of it, I think I'd have been alright, because I was very fit back then. To be fair, I think you get most 16-year-olds, so I was 16 at the time, so you get most 16-year-olds, they're fit, aren't they? You know, they're physically going to be fit because they're 16. I know not everyone is, but I was probably no fitter than anyone else of my age, to be honest. Unlike now. I'm probably doing better than some people of my age. I'm sure I am. But I'm also perhaps not doing as well as other people of my age. You know, I've not done a survey. It'd be good to find out, though. Can you imagine going back to school and just meeting all the people that you was at school with in your year at age like 55? Because, you know, some people do their, I don't know what they call it, you know, when they get together and after 20 years or 10 years, but after a long, long time, because that would be like nearly 40 years. So let's say next year, or the year after, I'll go back. No, next year, blimey. So next year it'll be 40 years when I left school. So go back to that year and see all those people. Firstly, some of them won't be around anymore, I guess, just statistically. And it'll be interesting. I probably wouldn't recognise one of them. Actually, I know one person. I probably wouldn't, actually. Probably wouldn't recognise, because everyone would be bigger, probably, than they were back then. Because just people grow, don't they, as they get older. As far as, like, heavier, I mean. So even really slim people back then, which I was one of them, not so slim now. And people that didn't used to wear glasses, perhaps do wear glasses now. Again, I'm kind of one of them. Although I did have glasses for the last couple of months of school. What else? There's going to be people that perhaps, have mobility issues that didn't before. There's going to be people that don't have hair anymore that did before. Or some people, it's going to be people that do have hair that didn't before. Maybe they always used to shave their head. It's going to be interesting. But I really think you may be wondering, why don't you just answer the question? Why are you now talking about some kind of school reunion? I nearly said reunion. I don't think anyone would even remember me. I like to think that a couple of people would remember my name. Neil or Dean. A couple like Ivan, maybe he doesn't. Stefan probably doesn't. I'd like to think that some of those people will remember me. Vinny. Horace he was just on the windowsill, and Vinny gets very jealous because he knows how close me and Horace are. I tried to explain to Vinny that, Horace has been visiting me for 10 years since I lived there. He comes onto the windowsill, says hello, and then he flies off. Vinny doesn't understand. It's like he has to be the only one. There are more people in the world, Vinny. You're not the only one. Other people can also love me. And Horace is one of those. I love Horace the pigeon. If you could live in any other country in the world, where would you like to live? I'd like to do a tester. Just have a little look around. I mean, there are benefits to living in this country. One would be the health service. It's one of probably the greatest things of this country, living in this country. And something that I guess kind of doesn't need to be appreciated until it's needed. It's one of those things that, and then maybe it won't be appreciated because the person's too busy, or they're too unwell to really sort of think about it. But we are very lucky. I know some people say, yeah, but we pay for it. Yeah, but it's compared to some places in the world, it might not be as good a service as far as if you're in a country where you pay, you're going to pretty much be seen straight away, I imagine, if you've got the money. I mean, in Thailand, if you got the money, you can pretty much do anything you want when it comes to health. They will do everything they can to help you, and it's really top notch. But you can't leave until you pay. My dad had that in Russia. He had a chest infection when he was in Russia. This is a long time ago. Ended up in hospital, and you can imagine Russian hospitals at the full works, and they did everything to help him. I mean, I don't know, chest infection, maybe he had pneumonia, I don't know, but chest infection. But he was, very, really, very poorly. And at the end of it, when he'd kind of recovered, they wouldn't let him leave because he had to pay. And he said, well, the insurance, I'm insured because he had health insurance. My dad's really good like that. He's very organised. A little bit different to me. I'm not so organised. His insurance started to have arguments with the Russian hospital about, they were like, what they will cover. So my dad had to end up paying out of his own pocket thousands of pounds. I think he got it back in the end from the insurance company, but they wouldn't let him leave until he paid money. So that's quite a difficult situation to be in. I don't know. I don't know if it would be like that for the people that live there, because sometimes I don't really know how the health system works in a lot of different countries, but I feel grateful that we've got what we got here. One of the main issues really nowadays is the waiting lists, because we're overpopulated. Yet we're underpopulated. We're overpopulated for now, but we're underpopulated for the future. It's one of those weird ones. Not enough babies being born. Too many people. It's a weird one. It's almost, I'm kind of moving into the age group of people that are too old. Too many of. It's a weird one. I say too many in the sense of not being able to cope, like the NHS. It's weird. It's weird the way it's worked. But then in 30 years' time, if it continues as it is, there won't be enough people to work in the NHS. There won't be enough people for the jobs. But then AI is going to, I don't know. Hopefully it'll all work itself out. I'm not going to bother worrying about it, because it will all be okay in the end. Wicka wicka woo. So yeah, what country would? So I think really living. I always quite like the idea of living in a cabin, a wooden cabin or a wood cabin. Yeah. And then I think of things like Little House on the Prairie. But then I'd need a time machine for that one. And then I think to some of these movies, a little bit like, if you think of Groundhog Day, that's an example, where that quaint little town, everybody knows each other, there's a diner, there's different shops, there's, it's kind of, seems like a really nice place to live. I don't know if there really are places like that in America or anywhere else in the world. I don't know. I've never lived in a place like that where it's nice. I mean, it's not horrible where I live, but it's just I don't know, that just seems like a fantasy, yeah. Or maybe, and then I start thinking, well, if I think of some of the people I've met over the years, and I wonder, well, if more people are like them in their countries, that seems like quite a nice place to be. But then that gets into the old judgment, doesn't it? It's like, well, I met her and she was from Denmark and she was really cool. Therefore, everyone in Denmark must be really cool and lovely. But then that's the same really as if I'd have met someone from Denmark and I didn't get on with them and I found them difficult. Therefore, well, everyone in Denmark's difficult. It's the same mentality, isn't it? And people are going to be different. They're not everyone's going to be the same. So I'd like to, if I was kind of like, I have to move somewhere else, I have to move to another country, I can choose anywhere I want, but I have to choose, and I've got a month to do so. I would have to do some thorough research and really find out which country's the best. You know, bearing in mind, you know, as I'm getting older, I might, just for medical stuff in the future, blimey. But living somewhere where it was friendly, safe, amenities, stuff to do, because, you know, see, London, I never, in this country, just, it's a personal opinion, but I think in some ways it's also true. There's nowhere like London in this country. There's nowhere else where there is so much to do. It's condensed, but there's so much to do if you're willing to go out, and if you can afford it as well, I suppose, these days. Of course, there's other cities that are a lot smaller as far as because I think with London, it's because you've got the West End, and you've got the city, and you've got all these places where there's a lot of stuff. You know, no other city has anything like Oxford Street and Piccadilly Circus and Leicester Square and Trafalgar Square and all that stuff. I'm not saying it's better, it's just different, and there's more to do. That's what I've heard. Don't shoot the messenger. Kiss me passionately. Don't kiss the messenger. I was watching EastEnders, and Kat and Alfie couldn't decide whether they were going to get married or not. And to tell you how interested I was in it, I turned it over. I just couldn't be bothered. Like, this is just, they're just rehashing old storylines from 25 years ago. I think they've just run out of ideas. I genuinely think that some of these soaps they've been going for so long now that I think it's time for a new soap opera to come along, which is just gonna either be really adult or maybe as well as be very funny, but also gritty, like real life, but also funny, because life is funny. You know, it's, in real life there are people that say funny things. In EastEnders there isn't. Coronation Street, there's some funny characters in there. They do have some good lines. So they've definitely got the humour aspect sorted in that. Emmerdale, I can't remember anymore. It's been such a long time since I watched it. And I don't watch Hollyoaks. But Hollyoaks was supposed to be a more adult soap when it came out. And they had all these like gorgeous looking young people, and I think that opened in a shower scene. This was like 6 in the evening, and you know, it was, no, it wasn't, you couldn't see anything, but it was very provocative, I think, for that time of the day. Provocative, that's a good word, isn't it? It's very provocative. If I could live anywhere in the country, any other country, I don't know. It's just I've met people. I kind of go from people that I've met, and every person I've met from Eastern European countries have always been cool, pretty much. Like, pretty much all been really, and I've worked with a lot of them. Not recently, but when I was in London, I worked with a lot of Polish people, a lot of people from Bosnia, people from I'm trying to think of different places, but Eastern European, loads of people from Russia, from Slovakia, I don't know, different places, and I always got on with them. It took a little while sometimes to break through, because they weren't. There was one I didn't really get on with, but she was ice cold. But I found out she was having problems anyway. But she couldn't smile. She didn't have the ability to smile. But so that if she'd been the only person I'd met from, I don't know, Poland, I think, maybe one of those countries in that area, I might have gone, all Polish people are miserable, which is a ridiculous thing to think, isn't it? Because people are different. Everyone's different. I think a couple of my favourite people was a couple of Russian couple. I can remember saying to them, just slow down. Russian, okay. Anyway, she said there's a new waitress, so I'm just chatting her up, just talking to her, but I thought she was really nice, just start talking to her. And the staff started laughing, and I said, what are you laughing for? She said, and they said to me, her husband's watching you chat his wife up. And I said, what? I looked over, and the husband was doing a washing up. He was a kitchen porter, so they both started at the same time. She was a waitress, he was a kitchen porter. And he waved at me. I was like, okay. So it turned out he was a professor of psychology in Russia. And I don't remember what she did at home. Can't remember, but he was quite high up. He worked in a university, so they got permission to go on holiday and to leave, and I think they had allowed to be away for 3 months, something like that. And he said to me, it's so nice to do a menial job, to do something that didn't involve thinking, because I imagine he'd spent probably most of his life in academia, and he was probably a bit older than me. I'd say he's probably about 35, maybe early 30s. I was late 20s. Well, it turned out I got on really well with both of them. I got really well with him, but I also got on really well with her. It was weird. It was like two different friendships I had. And he used to come and see me in the DJ booth after, because the kitchen would close, and he'd come and hang out with me sometimes in the DJ booth, which is at the bottom of the club. And he was so comfortable, he'd start talking Russian. And I wouldn't say anything, and he'd just keep going, and I was going, yeah, And then he realised, oh, I forgot. It's like he just completely forgot that I wasn't Russian. Which is weird, because I was standing still. Yeah, Russian. It's tough audience. So that was weird. And then we got invited to a party, so I went to where he lived with his wife, and they were staying with friends or with people. I guess they were friends with them, I don't know. And she ended up getting pregnant while she was here. Wasn't me. And so it was, I don't know if that was their plan to come and get pregnant, or just maybe the relaxing, you know, maybe just to have a break was what they needed. But yeah, she got pregnant, and she was not like far gone. Vinny started to moan. She wasn't like, you know, I was gonna say Oompa Loompa. She wasn't like really. Oh, blimey. Oh great, so they started the motorbike's been started in the garden. Great. So it's 11 minutes past 9. I'm like this, a moany neighbour, and I. Yeah, is that the police? Can I speak to the motorbike annoying sounds department, please? So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so yeah, she got pregnant, and then they went back to Russia. And I think he was more upset to say goodbye to me than she was. Like, I kind of really connected with him. It was weird. Don't know why. I really like both of them. But it was, I don't know, just there's something. Maybe, I think it's probably because he was an academic. I quite liked the idea I quite like being around clever people. I hope that maybe some of it will rub off. I don't know. And I can be quite, I don't know. I think for me, I probably thought to myself, I'm being more sophisticated being around him, and he was enjoying being really common being around me. Can you hear that motorbike? They turned it off now. Bless him. Or her. Whoever it is. Whoever it is. Whatever it is. And never saw them again. They did invite me to go visit, but I think I wrote to them, or I gave them my address, and we just lost contact. But they wanted me to go and visit them, but yeah, I never did in the end. It's weird, isn't it? And that was like a long time ago. Long time ago. No, Bosnia and Croatia. That's it. So there was people from Bosnia, Croatia, and somewhere else. Yeah, he's just Eastern European, like different places. But it was Poland. A lot of Polish people in London, and also generally at that time they weren't legally allowed to work in England. Not the people that I worked, because they just happened to be friends. They weren't working there, of course. But at the time there was a lot of Polish people working cash in hand in London, and then they joined the European Union in, I think, 2002? Something like that. And a lot of them went home because there was no point working here anymore, because they'd have to pay tax, and it's almost they'd lose money by doing it legally. But it was quite cool because a bunch of them would come in. I guess they lived locally. They would come in and hang out, and I'd hang out with them. and I got on really well with them. It was just like they kind of accepted me into their group. It was weird. Again, they used to speak whatever language they spoke to me. And there was a leader as well. There was the leader of the group. It was, yeah. I don't know why they seemed to get on okay with me. Yeah. And then what other people? I've met a lot of Africans because I worked with a lot of people from Africa, the different places in Africa, Ghana. I can't think of any other places specifically because I didn't usually find out where they were from. Ghana was one place because I remember I actually lived in a house with quite a few people from Ghana, and then I worked with a lot of people from India and also from Pakistan. And so when I worked in a bakery, it was 95% Asian, or like, sort of Indian, Pakistani, I'm trying to think of other countries in that area, Bangladeshi, there's lots of people from those kind of countries were working in the bakery, but I think mainly Indian, if I remember correctly. There was a few African people working there as well, and a very small number of English people. The English people, even English people weren't even running it. I mean, as far as being the bosses, there was Turkish. So a Turkish brother, there's a Turkish bloke that was the manager of the whole thing. His brother was the manager of all the team leaders, so he was the manager of all the other managers. So literally them two was at the top. And then he had a few people, I guess, shift managers for different departments, because it was a huge bakery. I mean, massive. It's arguably, the biggest place I've ever worked. Biggest building I've ever been in. I mean, maybe the art gallery's bigger, because that's a pretty huge building, isn't it? But as far as working, it's the largest area I think I've ever been in under one roof. Absolutely huge. I mean, you could say, well, I was a lot smaller back then, but yeah, I was still the same height. I was 20 years old, so I wasn't exactly, I was thinner, but I wasn't, things aren't going to look bigger, are they, at 20 than they do at 30 or whatever I am now. If you could live in any country, if you could just stick to the question, please, that's been asked, if you don't mind, where would I like to live? I thought about America, then I thought about Canada, then I thought about Australia, then I think about I think I would possibly struggle in a country which has a different language, just because I only speak one language, and whether or not that's lazy or ignorant, whatever you want to call it, that's just the fact. I only speak one language, and however great it would be to be bilingual, I'd like to be bi, but it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. Although there are apps, there's technology that can help you to communicate with someone in real time who speaks a different language. So that could help, could be useful. or if I went to a country where most people spoke English as well as their own language. But at no point in my brain do I think that other people should speak English. That's not totally true though, is it? No, but I mean in reality, but you know, as a kind of, from a wish fulfilling thinking, like everyone should be brilliant if everyone could speak English. But then it'd be brilliant if everyone could speak all languages, wouldn't it really? You know, if whenever you go to another country, you automatically can speak their language. Where did they have that on Star Trek? Where they put a thing in their ear and they could automatically communicate with whatever language the aliens were talking, depending on what planet they were on. Was that in Star Trek Next Generation, or was that in the original Star Trek? Because we've literally now kind of almost got that technology. Where would I like to live and why? See, I just don't know. I know that I'm supposed to be answering questions, and I invited the questions, but I'm not sure what the answer would be. Maybe I'm just thinking, it's like, if you'd have asked me 20 years ago, I'd have had a much different answer, because I imagine I probably would have said America. Or perhaps New Zealand or Australia. New Zealand, in the sense of it's similar kind of, quite similar to England, I think. That's what I've been told. It's quite similar, but just nicer. And I don't know. I'd like to travel around, so I'd like to visit, but living, I don't know, it's the idea of living, because it doesn't mean I've got to stay there forever, does it? I can live somewhere for a month or for 6 weeks. It's still living there, isn't it? Technically. Kind of. I know someone that used to spend half the year abroad and half the year here, and he seemed quite happy to do that. And I wonder, and I've heard that some people, they'll spend the winter, our winter here, somewhere nice, somewhere like Spain, and then come back in the summer. Or, you know, just time the seasons so that they never have to spend time in the winter. You know what I mean? There's a lot of waffle in the garden now. And why? Oh, but the question is why? Why would I want to live there? I've not really answered that question very well. I do apologise. Michelle asks, is your stepmum that you talk about still in your life? The second one is, I don't see her very often, a couple of times a year. That's the one that my dad is married to now. And the first stepmum, no. I haven't seen her, had contact with her. Well, the last time I had any kind of regular contact was 1987. Seen her a couple of times, I think 1988, maybe once 1989. then I saw her when my brother had appendicitis, because we went and visited him in hospital, and she rolled up to come and see him, and that was the last time I saw her. That was probably, I don't know how old my brother was. It could have been a good 30 years ago, 25 years, 27 years. It's really hard to feel. I'm not really sure. It was a long time ago. But no communication between those times or since. Apart from a letter I did send to her recently. But I don't even know if she received it. Well, it wasn't a letter, it was a card and a present. Like some flowers. I sent her a card on Moonpig just to sort of thank her for helping look after me when I was little, and that, you know, from the ages of 7 to 15. I thought it'd be a nice thing to do, just to say thank you and let her know that I do appreciate what she did. I don't know if she received it. I hope she did. Oh, some giggling going on out there. I wonder what that's all about. Ooh. Giggle wiggle. Giggle wiggle. That could be a good song, couldn't it? The Giggle Wiggle song. Giggle wiggle. And giggle wiggle. Giggle wiggle 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 giggling. Wiggle wiggle. I don't know. Maybe not. Have you ever thought about getting not pregnant? Ken asks, have you ever thought about getting a pet parrot? A pet parrot? Parrot? No. That's a very quick answer, no. That was a very decisive answer. No. Never thought about it, never wanted one, never going to get one. Ever. I'm not prejudiced against parrots, but I've seen them in action and they're noisy. Proper noisy. And it's going to sound weird, but I'm not really, I don't like the idea of, I mean, I did have a budgie when I was a kid. Didn't quite work out, but I don't think I'd want to keep a bird in a cage. Yeah, it just doesn't really appeal to me, really. No, sorry. I don't feel like I've really answered any of the questions, not properly, about my stepmum. There's not really, I mean, I did do a whole recording about her, this first stepmum. I called it Stepmummy number 1 or something like that, or my first stepmummy. That was a Let Me Boy to Sleep. You'd have to look it up. I don't know where it is, what number it was. So I do go into a fair bit of detail about her. I think I might have done one about stepmummy number 2 as well. I think I've never done a recording about my pet parrot because I've never had a pet parrot. It just doesn't really. They're huge, aren't they, parrots? Yeah, probably not. No. So it's starting to become very noisy in the garden. So I'm going to have to end this recording because I reckon it's just they're partying or something. I don't know. So thank you very much. Thanks for the questions. I'm sorry if I didn't answer the questions very well. I'll try and do better next time. I'll do my bestest. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself because you deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye.